Well, don't if you don't want to. There's nothing more uncomfortable than a reluctant and unwilling speaker. But, on the other hand, if you, as my eldest son, wanted to...
Of course I will!
Good, all right. Brief remarks by my son, Richard. Any idea what you might say?
No.
You won't get sentimental, will you? Brad Hoffmeister's son got up the other day and said some very sentimental things about Brad. I didn't like it. I don't think Brad would have liked it.
I won't get sentimental.
And on the other hand, you won't make any wisecracks.
Oh.
And you have that tendency, Dick. At Marcy's wedding and your brother's birthday, you got up and made some very flip comments about all of us. Smart guy stuff. Too smart, in my opinion.
I won't make
Maybe if you go that way, you might as well not say anything at all.
I won't make any wisecracks, Pop, I promise.
Good. Because you love us, don't you?
Yes, Pop.
You love us. You live 1,000 miles away. You may have skipped off every summer. And you may be a terrible letter writer, but you love us just the same, don't you?
Yes, Pop, really, I do.
Good. Now, the graveside, just the family. I want to be buried below my parents and beside my brothers. Leave room for your mother to lay beside me. If she gets remarried, still, leave room. She'll come back at the end. And after the burial service, invite everyone back here. Just stay with your mother. She gets all emotional and makes bad decisions at these kind of things. For example, don't let her use any of the beef-eaters gin if all people want to do is mix it with tonic water. I'm serious. And afterwards, stay with her. Stay in the house. Don't leave for a few days. Please.
All right, Pop.
And that's my funeral. I will leave this in my left bureau drawer. Top of the stock certificates. I'm leaving you this room, by the way. After your mother dies, the chairs and the table go to you. It's the best thing I can give you by far.
Thanks, Pop.
You didn't see that Finch, did you?
Yes, I did.
You saw while I was talking?
That's right.
Good. I'm glad you saw it.
Oh, Annie, it looks absolutely spectacular.
Thank you, Mrs.
Now make sure the soup bowls are hot.
I know, Mrs.
And I think we can dispose of the butter balls. Just give everyone a nice square of butter.
I'll do butter balls, Mrs.
And don't forget to get rid of the ashtrays between meals. Some people still smoke between meals, but they don't like to be reminded of it.
Yes, Mrs.
Now, let's see. Before I check the living room... Oh, yes. Here's the money for you and Velma in the kitchen. There's money in here for taxis, so you can leave as soon as the dishes are done.
Thank you, Mrs.
And there's a little extra in there for you, Annie, for all you've done for the family over the years.
Thank you, Mrs.
Now I'm going to go check the living room.
Yes, Mrs.
Annie, I've heard a rather peculiar rumor that you're no longer going to be available.
No, Mrs.
Not even for us, Annie, we've used you the most out of anyone.
I'm retiring, Mrs.
But surely for special occasions we can retweet your nephews.
He's moving, Mrs.
Well then, where will you live?
I've got my sister in Milwaukee, Mrs.
What will we do without you, Annie?
You'll manage, Mrs.
But not like this, Annie.
Thank you, Mrs.
I think I heard the bell.
I'll get it, Mrs.
Remember, women's coats upstairs and men's coats in the hall closet.
Yes, Mrs.
Annie. Thank you, Annie. For everything.
You're welcome, Mrs.
Lately I've been having this recurrent dream. We're having this perfect party. We've got grandmother's silverware before it was stolen, Charlie's mother's royal blue dinner plates before the movers dropped them, and even finger bowls if I still knew where they were. And we invited all of our favorite people. No, I don't just mean our old friends, I mean everyone we've ever known or liked. The receptionist at the doctor's office, the man who fixes our Toyota, the lovely couple who bought the Peyton house, and even our children will return from wherever they are. We'll have 2 cocktails and hot hors d'oeuvres and a first-rate cook in the kitchen, and everyone will get along famously. You know what my husband says to me when I tell him this? Do you realize how much a party like that would cost? Do you realize how much a party like that would cost us these days? Well, I know. I know all that. But sometimes, I think it might almost be worth it. Come in, I hope you're famished. And he's prepared a lovely table for us all.
Well, see, I can never trust a German. It's a little thing. Amazing.
Really nice.
Old family. Her name's Annie. She works for other families, I think, now, and she still comes out and makes incredible tables. She does. Oh, and she comes home.
I sit next to you.
It's incredible. And there's wine. Yes, it's a little something I picked up when I was in France. A little surprise. Well, is everyone seated? Then let me raise my glass. To all of us. Now,